Welcome to Crypto Meatheads, where I, Jeff Black, am joined by Andy Peters and Jason Theobald. We're three guys in our 40s, probably going through a midlife crisis at this point with the way crypto markets are heading, but we're going to talk about that. But we are diving headfirst into the world of digital assets with our podcast. We realize, as we all get older, that maybe retirement, the financial security we all wanted and thought was a little bit further down the road. So we're on a journey to learn how to better enhance that. And we hope you guys join us, like it, share it if you do. And with that being said, guys, if you're interested in jumping past the sponsor part, give us about 2 minutes forward and you guys can get into the meat of the episode. But I gotta let you know, you guys are in for a treat. I got high as shit before I came on this podcast. I am so baked. Like this is gonna be fun. But I
That's a
wanted to
Tennessee Vols fan for you.
yeah, yes, sir. You
Yeah.
damn right, man. We're the villains of the SEC, and I love it. I just love being an asshole to fellow sports fans out there. My trolling level is pretty high in sports season. But
I
I
love
want
it.
to go over our first sponsor, New Ethic Formulations. They are just recently released a creatine monohydrate. All the research, even the newest stuff coming out about creatine for your cognitive effects, your memory, anti-heart disease. I mean, and maybe even anti-cancer at this point, Jay. There's so much stuff that's coming out about it, but it's very affordable and it's very pure and very clean because of the money New Ethics spends on testing their supplements and the quality standard of the facility that's produced in. If you guys use the discount code Relentless10, hook yourself up with some creatine, show a little support and love to the show as we keep trying to grow this for you all. Jay, tell them about AVH.
Sure. We're an anti-aging peptides hormone clinic that specializes in men and women. We're great at both, actually. And we have clinicians that are, our whole clinic is licensed in 50 states, so we can see you anywhere, telemed. And, get on in the door. We'll get your labs done. It's seamless, it's easy. We get you over to LabCorp or Quest on your time, and then you sit down on your time as well at the comfort of your home and have an appointment with one of our clinicians to see how we can optimize your health and your life. So if you're interested, I can always walk you into the clinic. You can hit me up on any of my socials, or you can hit up one of our coordinators, Brooke with an E, at advancedvitalityhrt.com, and she can get your journey started.
Badass, man. I gotta say, all my clients love it. They all love it. So that's good stuff, especially when you're dealing with hormones. The longevity science behind it now is beginning to come out and come to light. Oddly enough, new administration, new things come to light. Weird. Showing how it might keep you around a little bit longer. Andy, let's get into the Discord. That is the last night, just so you guys know, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in working with Andy one-on-one, last night he spent way more time than he needed to with Jason and I to go over like how to set up our carbon capital accounts, how to kind of look at trading view, how to start adjusting things so we can become better traders and learn this. Most importantly, kind of seeing how long it takes to build this skill was kind of what I walked away with understand last night. But he is available for private mentorship if you're looking for financial advice. But most importantly, his Discord might be where you want to get your feet wet first. So do you want to tell him about that, Andy?
Yeah, so the Discord, you can find that at realandypeters.com. Basically, it's just a community that I've built. We're going on 9+ years old over the whole community. Been on Discord now for a little over 4+ years. And it's everything from stocks to crypto to trading, options, leverage trading, the foreign exchange currencies. We've got, a little fitness section in there, off topic. I mean, it is a full-blown community where you never know what you're going to get. You're going to get trading, you may get some sports, you may get a little bit of fitness. I just want to build something fun for people to come and kind of have a safe environment to talk about trading and what they're looking at.
I asked, where can they get that link? Is it on your IG?
Yeah, so if you go to my IG, which is at Real Andy Peters, there'll be a link there, or you can just go to realandypeters.com.
Badass. It's also in the YouTube below, along with Jason's AVH, his coaching brand, my coaching brand, place to buy my book if you're interested, which we hopefully, guys, got the final cover back that might fly through Amazon. At which point the book will be out. So finally, the longest process of my life, which has made me
Uh-huh.
not want to write another book. But I am working on it. So I will be quiet about it. I think I'm going to call it Why the Leadership Books of John Maxwell Lied to You. And just 12 chapters about how the old leadership is no longer applicable to the new world and what it means to kind of lead and grow a business in the new world. Because I think it's a whole new thing out there. But well, it's a whole nother topic for another day. We could talk about. If you guys in the audience would ever like to hear us talk about our businesses and like our what we've had success with and failures with, just let us know. We don't mind having episodes about that too, because we've failed at more things I think than what we've succeeded at. So we'd probably could do an easy 90 minutes on that. But first off, let's get into the first thing of the news. And I know where Andy's got some stuff he wants to talk about, but I think it's very important we kick this off with what a letdown the crypto summit was a week ago. Because I remember we were going in, we recorded the podcast. We're like, hey, they've got to say something. They've got to come out and say something. And then sure as shit, that night we recorded, I see on Twitter, boom, they're doing this crypto summit. I'm like, God, man, we just recorded. All right. Well, if anything, it gives us time to see what happens to report on, right? So, following up with us, we watched that live stream, and it just seemed like everybody up there was just grabbing each other's dicks and just being like, "Hey, dude, like so great to have you here. Oh my God, you too." And I'm just like, there was no, I didn't understand there. I didn't feel like there was any action direction. I didn't understand like much. I don't think they did a good job. Here's my whole point. You have Crypto Summit. Everybody's talking about it. You didn't even talk about like what digital assets are, how they're valuable, how to like reference them to like art or stocks or anything at all. Like there was nothing at all. If you're just like my wife watched it and she was just like, they're literally just congratulating each other on being at this table. And she goes, I still don't know anything else. So
Did we
what
ever
was
figure out what was wrong with the feed? Like I only got 18 minutes and then it was gone. Like I don't know if
they
that's all
said
we
that
were
was by
expecting.
design from what I kind of read later.
That was
Rewarded.
America's way of doing it. If
Yeah.
it aired everywhere else, I think on full time.
No shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. We just cut out because, well, the news isn't
Why?
because
Why?
the
So we
news
only,
isn't about that yet for some reason. They probably still have some agenda that they're getting paid ad money on that they don't want to talk about at
man,
this point.
I feel like the government or Trump or someone should have had some stream for all of us. That's really shitty. We were all, but I was left scratching my head. Like, what was that? It was
Well,
that?
I'm telling you.
I even said to a few buddies whenever we were out, they're like, dude, you're not gonna watch it because I was riding in the car. Me and Nick were actually shooting content. And I was like, nah, dude, look at it. Like it looks like a funeral. Like when the guys were all sitting at the table, everyone's just kind of
Yeah.
like it literally looked like someone was showing up for someone's death. And it's weird because if you look at where we're at today in crypto, when I say today, like actual today, March, versus where we were in crypto prior to the election, the hype was every day. There's talking about it every day. There's government every day. There's news every day. All this stuff's coming in. And then once Trump's in office now, it's like, ooh, what were we doing? Were we actually like, did we know what we were talking about? And advisors come in. Again, this is my opinion. I don't know. And they're like, yo, slow down because you don't know what you're talking about. We maybe need to go about this route, have some advisors on a panel, have them talk about it, but let's just keep you off to the side. And I mean, there's conspiracy theories either way of, Trump, I mean, Trump didn't win by a landslide. I mean, he really didn't. It's almost a 50-50 split down the middle. So how many voters did you pull in by mentioning crypto? Was it a play on votes? Was it a play on knowing that I really got to make up some space in this, younger crowd and this crowd that's going to help me push this to be pro crypto? And when you look at how many people hold crypto in the US, it's enough to sway a vote if you're banking on it. Now, granted, I'm not saying that's a true conspiracy theory, but I've seen that float out there. But it looks that way on paper. When you think about all the hype and everything that was been brought behind it. And I mean, I'm not mad about it because I mean, some of these projects I'm able to scale in much
Mhm.
better. I'm not mad about it from a volatility standpoint, especially being able to short the market, and long the market how I am. Leverage trading's been phenomenal. There's been a lot of money to be made. But I also have to understand not everyone's in my position, not everyone's in y'all's positions. There's people out there right now scratching their heads going, man, I dumped a ton of money into this and now it's not working out how I expected it, whether it's the stock market, whether it's the crypto market, anything. We talked about this on the first episode. We're like, what's the market's going to look like when Trump comes into office? And we said it's more than likely going to fall. How far, we don't know, but there's going to be a pump, a lot of hype before him. He's going to get in office and this thing's going to come crashing down. And that's where we're at. I mean, the stock market alone has lost almost $6 trillion.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So if
That's just in the last month.
So if you look at various news outlets and they're starting to talk about this more, they think that he's intentionally causing the volatility in the market with the tariffs. One day they're on, the next day they're off. The one day they're on this one, the next thing they're off this thing. And it's to keep everything shook. So therefore it will trigger because you have to show two quarters in a row of this key indicator that for the first time
Mhm.
showed false, right? Like showed recession. You got to have two in a row to actually say recession, at which point it automatically triggers the Fed in action because he knows Jerome Powell won't do anything because he's done exactly like the economic rule book is said to do. Literally, what you go to college and learn, that guy's literally done. Which, if he was in the private sector, he would have been out of shop year two of business because
Yep.
you can't do that. And that's where theory and actual application are two separate things, whole different conversation. But they say it's because we're having to pay $386 billion per quarter on the loan payments for our country for the debt we have, and that if we can get a recession trigger, it would lower the interest rates, allowing those debts for the country that are coming up for renewal in the summer to be renegotiated at better interest rates, which would then lower that payment, which would then lower inflation. It sounds like a lot, but
Yep.
it doesn't seem very far off from what he's been doing because ever since day one in there, he is the king of just saying random shit every day. It's kind of the point it's entertaining. It's like the WWE. He just gets out there and talks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, is he really willing to risk small businesses' lives to get that done?
I don't
I
think
think
he
so.
cares.
I think at a point in politics,
Yep.
people are willing to risk anything without care because there's always, no matter how you do an economy, there's always collateral damage.
Yep. I
True.
think he wants to
Always.
get even more than he wants to be understood.
Exactly. And I mean, if you look at, I mean, look at what's happened in our past with our businesses, the economy, I mean, everything as a whole.
Yep.
I mean, guys, there's been collateral damages from people dying, being killed, wars, everything. So I think it's,
COVID.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where people say, oh, the American government would never do that. Fun statistic. I posted a while back on my Instagram and I said, and I only let the story run real short because I didn't want this like 24-hour story. I was like, I'm just going to combine this in like a short segment. And I said, if someone that you don't know would be killed, but you'd be given $1 million. So you take the $1 million, and the moment you grab that $1 million, someone you don't know dies. It can be an elderly person, it could be a kid, it could be anything, but you don't know this person, you have no connection to them. Would you take the $1 million? Yes or no? Because that just shows you where people's thought process is, because we say the government wouldn't harm individuals. So I just want to see what the everyday person would say.
I've done
90,
too many
97%,
psychedelics.
97% said they would take the money.
See, I've done too many psychedelics that I know the karma that would come back to get me would be tenfold, so I couldn't do it
So
because
I
I
reached
know
back to some of these
somehow I'd
people.
end up in 10 million in debt or something from
Yeah,
it.
so I reached out to some of these people. I'm like, you would seriously do that? They're like, Andy, there's wars every day. There's people dying every day. If this is someone I don't know, why would I care? And I'm like, holy cow. Like that's so if that's just a regular individual sitting at their house, what will politics do?
I know.
Okay.
Listen, I'm telling you, Andy, in a few years, I'm going to go brave enough that I won't care what anyone says about me. I'm going to run for senator of Tennessee, and I'm literally going to run on the whole campaign ticket of I love to piss people off. I will go up there with the solemn vow from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to ruin their days, just like they've ruined ours for X amount of years back. You will get nothing else but me, my promise to make sure that they are miserable, they hate me, and they do not like me. And I agree with you on that because I look back and I kind of see the playbook he's doing, and I'm like, he's making this where it's more about like coming back and getting to gloat. I feel like it's very much Napoleon walking back through
Yeah.
France again, just strolling along and being like, look what I did. And
Well,
I'm
look
like,
what he's
great,
doing.
you did it, but come on, do something else. Like, we need this shit to move.
Well, I mean, look at all the hate that Tesla's been getting. And what does he do the other day? He lines up every Tesla model in front of the White House.
He buys one of each, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's playing a game right now. But can you blame him? Think about it. If you were in a position where someone tried to take out yourself, take out People of your family try to get you put in prison and throw your name through the mud, and then you get in power, there's going to be some sort of retaliation you're coming after.
I agree. Now, I know we're going to talk about the crypto market, and this might be
Yeah.
an interesting way to get into it because in the beginning you talked about, we were talking about the idea of like him actually doing something with crypto and
Mhm.
why people might have come in and said no. I actually kind of think of it a little different. I think the national debt's so high, the GDP so kind of not going really good. We got older people retiring out at higher numbers, not enough people coming behind it. I think he's got no choice but to allow crypto to come through because it's going to innovate to create things because it's Web3. I think they're going to hook it. I think the better sell is Web3. You keep talking about crypto, people go, ugh. And I think it's because all you hear about is Ethereum being hacked,
Yeah.
Bitcoin being stolen, XRP having the SEC say it's an illegal gambling operation or whatever. All these insert all these things, but if you say it's Web3, it's the third version of the internet. It's made to make the internet do XYZ. It's
Yep.
made to make your life easier. I think they have to do that and they have to sell it to be able to get the economy to go higher because there's a couple ways out of the problem. We have a national debt that sucks. We got a payment we can't make, and we don't want to take more taxes, which is why he wants to do the tax cut. So you either have to get rid of a lot of shit, which only Doge can get with through so much, right? Because at that point, you're then cutting the companies too hard, or if you want to think of it as a company, and then you have to go, okay, so we have to make more money. And I think that's where he's going to have to figure out how to innovate with this. And I think that's where it comes into crypto.
Yeah. No, I mean, us saying all this for the viewers, we're not saying that this is a bad thing that he's doing, shaking the
Mm-mm.
trees and shaking things up. So I do want to get that a point. I mean, get that point across. I think people can look at it as a negative side, especially like if we jump on social media and we see it, people are like, oh no, look at the stock market, the moment that he was put in.
Hmm.
Well, people also need to understand the stock market has been overbought
Yep.
and numbers have been inflated massively for the last 4 years.
Yeah, they don't
Like
even flinch unless it's like crazy growth now. They actually
a
do
hundred,
bad
what,
things.
140%.
Yeah.
I think in just the Dow Jones alone, since we dropped in the Dow Jones to current price today is 126% in basically four, almost 5 years to the date. And when it's high as 147%. What other time in history has the stock market, especially one of the lead identifiers, which is the Dow Jones, went 1.4x in just a little over 4 years?
Hmm.
It doesn't exist. So when people are refreshing their 401ks, they're like, look what Trump did. Look what Trump did. Biden gave us 4 years of growth, 4 years of growth. It's like, guys, if you only knew how inflated these numbers are, you would think differently.
Yeah, because assets, correct me if I'm wrong. This is me being a little stupid here because I'm the newest one to the financial world. But I know this much. Inflation has caused my dollar to go down,
Mhm.
but assets have almost doubled in the case of watching like a rental and other things.
Correct.
That to me seems very backwards that currency's dipping at the rate it is, but yet my assets are technically worth more than
Yeah, it's
the
your buying
currency I'm
power.
holding.
So what happens is the buying power. You lose more buying power of it, and that's
Right. So
that's
then
why.
technically it was a worse they were setting us up for more failure by allowing that to happen.
Yeah, there's
Sure, it looked good
nothing.
on paper, but it hurt in the actual physical world of existence.
The people that see it for what it is at face value realize, wow, we got screwed. The house that we just bought for 600,000 was 280,000 4.5, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my dollar that I'm spending now is cut in half almost in the last 4 years. People aren't comparing those numbers. They're just looking at the overall, oh, wow, my 401k is amazing. Numbers are going great, but your money has not increased to help out the living expenses and everything that we're in now. So that leads us to the crypto side. It's opportunity. And I mean, that's kind of the message I think that we've said on this podcast since day one is opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. And, you couldn't get when everything, we look at Powell, when Powell hit its all-time high of 90 cents, people were begging to get in. Man, I wish I would have got in at least 50 cents, and then begging to get in at 30 cents, and now Powell's 9 cents. And that's the basically the theme across the whole market. We look at everything. there's been a massive retracement and a massive downtrend that we've been in. And Andy, I guess it's just dead. These are called cycles. Everyone thought we were heading into a bull market because of the hype that we had with the election and everything popping up. When technically we just had a hype market, a quick little pump. Now we're essentially in the bear market. When you look at our pump that
So
we had,
let
we're
me stop you there.
yeah,
So, I mean, pretty much the new year after the halving, we always had a hell of a bull run.
mhm.
What changed it? I mean, that's the crazy thing.
Um,
Is it the tariffs? Is it all this shakeup? Because, you know, I know we can criticize the crypto summit, but we got to remember there was a fucking crypto summit. Like that's a
Yeah.
huge step. Like that alone, and people are like super negative about it, which blows my mind. So
I
are
think I
we gonna
was
have a
negative about the rollout.
So our last, I mean,
it
just
still
to
happened. It still happened. We have a dude in office called a crypto czar. Let
yeah,
that like really think about that. I've been in the
No, I
market
agree with
on
you.
Andy,
I see
but
that.
I'm like, dude, when I was in this shit like 5 years ago, it was the wild, wild west of craziness, you know? And it's like,
yeah,
how is the sentiment still this terrible? And do you think we're going to have a bull run, or are we pretty much in for about 18 months of sideways? And I'm fine either way. My
yeah.
5K is to go in no matter what. I'm getting more H bar. I'm getting more XRP right now than I was, 3 months ago when I was doing it. But yeah, it's just wild to me where we're at. And what do you think the sentiment's going to do
So, I
in
mean,
your?
if we look at bull runs and bear markets and whatnot, if we look at like I'll just use ADA for example.
Yep.
When 22 hit, we had a push of 200%. That was our bull run was a 200% gain. And then we had a bear market that essentially lasted a solid
3 years.
730 days and we dropped significantly. I mean, we dropped below its value at 90%. It was
Hmm.
terrible. And then from that last run we had, when we hit the run in 23, we pushed all the way up to 220% on ADA. And then we dropped back down to base levels, which is where we dropped to at 23. And then in November of just this past year, we shot up to a 312% gain. So percentage wise, we've already had our bull market,
Yeah.
percentage wise. Now, if we look at Ethereum, Ethereum's kind of the key identifier of what we look at for a bull market with altcoins.
Yep.
All right. So the last bull market that we had, when we go look at that 23 run where everything popped off, we pushed up 239% on Ethereum. And then we've spent a few months, kind of in a bear trend with it. It was a total of 214 days, not terrible. And then when we hit that 200 plus days, it shot up 113%. And now we've went right back down. So there's two sides of this. One, the bull market that we saw in 23 that led into 24, and we caught that retracement, we saw a hype because of the president coming in. And now we're back at base levels. So when you look at Ethereum, we're back at base levels of 23. When we look at, now obviously Bitcoin is not of base levels at all, but Ethereum, ADA setting pretty good. You look at Doge is back at levels of 23, well, technically 24. It did dip down into 23, actually 22 levels. You look at LTC's back down in 23 levels. Solana is setting at the beginning of 24 levels. Suku, 23 levels. XRP obviously isn't. So seeing how everything's kind of leveled out, what it shows me is we were already in that downward trend. And then all the news comes out, crypto, pro crypto, United States is going to be the crypto capital of the world. We get that massive Trump pump and people took their profits, they took their money out. Then all this other news starts happening. People are uncertain about the markets. That levels it back down. And now we're just in a waiting game. So if we fall below in some of these coins, so like for example, we use Ethereum as our identifier. Ethereum broke the level of 2161, which I've had forever. And it just broke a monthly trend. So if we close negative in monthly on Ethereum and fall into the $1,500 range, the $1,100 range, then we're in a full blown bear market. There's no ifs, ands, or buts because now we're hitting levels of 23, and then you've got to hold up in 23 at the 1100, 1100, 1150 range. If you don't hold that, you dip down into the 600, the 800 level, and then you're shot.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where it's a waiting game right now on the next move. If we jump back on top of 21, 2200, we get some good news coming our way. Trump and his team actually show up. They start doing stuff with crypto. A summit is a real summit where they're educating people, they're talking about it, they're getting people to understand crypto more. Then we'll see this thing fly to the moon. But it's teeter-totter. It's like we're on one of those what's the little things at the park when you're playing with your kids, seesaw.
Seesaw,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's what we're on.
Yeah.
We're sitting on a seesaw, and and neither side's moving. They're just sitting here like this. And one day it's like this, the next day it's like this, and we're going, okay, what direction are we going? Because the market's not showing us our key identifiers we've used in the past isn't showing us that we're going either direction. We are laying flat. Now, we talk about opportunity. There's still opportunity for 10%, 20, 30% gains, even when you're this low. We saw it with this past week. AVAX, HBAR, Scale, AIs, all the ones that I've talked about, the ones we have on the show, they've all moved from a lower point to still catch that percentage if you know what you're looking at. But for people who are looking for a full blown like bull run, we're teeter tottering. We're just waiting for a move to happen.
I can't believe Trump. I think he'll do everything in his power to go out at the end with everything prosperous. I can't imagine he would.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think crypto's something next year, and I'll give you the reason why. 2026 July is what? That's our 250 year as a country or something like that. That's what they're gearing up for. It's a big, the golden age thing. It's going to be July. They're planning a big old party. I think they're going to ramp this up. I think they've got to do it in phases, though. I think that crypto is probably second below AI.
Yeah.
And I think AI's got the biggest attention right now because of all the shit to do with just China and everything like that. So, I still think if you're smart, you'd be investing and buying in right now. And I don't know shit about shit, but I have my DCAs going on every day and I'm watching my average returns slowly drop in. Like my average on Suku
Yeah.
is going down, my average on Scale's going down, all the coins I'm in. So it's just a matter of sooner or later it's going to pop.
Yeah. That's all you plan for. And, if, and from an investment side of things, having to wait 2, 3, 4 years, even for something to take a full run is not long at all. It just allows you more time to build that portfolio, gain more capital. And for the average person that looks at this, that goes, man, I put in 5 grand. I was really hoping to be up, 5 or 10x right now. Well, that 5 grand you put in then, now you've only got to put in a grand to 1500, and that's going to be a massive run for you on the next one. It's no different. No one's investing in Home Depot and plan on getting rich next year. No one's investing in Amazon and plan on getting rich next year. So if you play the long game with crypto, it'll actually make sense to you and you'll be more happy.
My biggest hurdle at the moment is I have no idea if this is the bottom. I thought we were there 3 times already. I made bigger purchases and it bit my ass. So I'm just sticking with the small amounts per
Yeah.
day and just letting it ride. I know I could probably, score big hitting, 20 G's into Suku and I got it. But man, if I see that fucker drop 10K, I just can't stomach it right now. So I'm just putting in my daily buys and all the way up to the bottom and the top at this.
That's the best way to do it. You don't have to, when prices are this cheap, you don't have to get crazy with it. Sitting on $10,000 worth of Suku right now, we know that it just hit 34 cents last April. Me and my buddies were watching it when it did it. We were all hanging out together. It was the best thing ever.
Mhm.
So we know that those 12 and 15 cent runs are there. So 10 grand worth of coins right now in Suku is almost guaranteed 6 figures.
Yeah, I'll just let you know I got 120 Suku coins. So
Only
120K.
120.
120K.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
you're looking
that's
solid.
a
I'm
big
in
spender there.
no. I'm in like $6,800 or so.
Yeah.
I've got like 120K of them, but I did it on what he was saying, and it's like, all right, if I take the 3x policy of what Nick said in that episode we did with him,
Yeah.
then I know at some point I'm getting that initial buy-in back, and I just let the rest keep running as it's going to run.
Yep.
So I've kind of like same with scale. I'm kind of in like that. I know scale should be able to 3 run where I could get my initial back out. I think there's a lot of strategies that you could do with crypto as opposed to a stock market because you get penalized too hard when you play in the stock market. You know,
Yep.
like you can't go tinker with your 401k every day.
Yeah.
What would you guys like to talk about next? This is one of those like I wish I had an audience member next to me to want to know what they to know want to know what they well, we got a lot of good feedback about the crypto meatheads, you know, like what we
Yeah.
talked
Let's talk
about
about that
there.
for a little bit.
All right, go ahead. How do you want to talk about that then? Since you're the one
Man.
who edited the video, which was, you did an amazing job, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Stellar,
Thank you.
stellar work.
So, man, I'll be honest. It was a letdown. The panel didn't know what they were talking about. They looked prepared. No, just kidding. We actually showed up. And what was fun about it was we did it in a sense of there was no agenda. So for those that didn't come, we didn't have an agenda. We talked about it, but I said, guys, let's go in here and let's hit this off with what we feel. Let's treat it like a podcast. Ask each other questions. Get the audience, and just kind of form our fill out for it. And we did. And the feedback that I got was amazing. We covered some great subjects. We had some great other people, Jeff Hummel and Nick Shepard that were on the panel up there as well talking. I think a lot of questions came after the event. When the event was over, we were there for what, like another hour and a half, talking with people and stuff. And what was really cool was just the feedback that we had from beginners, people that had no idea at all about crypto, how to purchase it, nothing. And they were like, this was great. It allowed me to see that it's not as hard as I thought it was, because everyone thinks, man, crypto's got to be crazy. It's the wild, wild west, not realizing 3 pushes of a button and you're in.
Yeah.
Super easy. And I think being able to hear the stories, from Jeff, especially you, Jason, being business owners and how you move your money around, how you invest, how I invested, how Nick looks at things. There were just so many different personalities that people were able to kind of say, oh, wow, you can be a business owner, or like the guy at your gym that you talk, what was his name again,
Trent.
Jeff? Trent, like Trent. I mean, someone there who's working at a bar. And it's so diverse in the people that have stories to share that it's like, oh, wow, that could be me too.
I From my standpoint, I mean, it was the first time being involved in any crypto seminar. And, I had a blast that weekend. I thought it was great. I'm used to doing like fitness stuff, and I still obviously love that, and it's my bread and butter, but it was just a breath of fresh air for me. And we got a lot of good feedback from some of the surveys. Like you said, Andy, there was some people there that were brand new. They said they took a lot away from it. One of the takeaways that someone did put on there is after they saw some of the stuff Jeff was doing, they did want one where we go over and trading more
Yeah.
depth. I think where you kind of go in and show how you trade, US 30 and what you're looking at and how you draw lines and, the trends and all that. I think someone said they would be curious or interested in that next time.
Yeah, and
So,
that's always fun for me because that's kind of what leads into the path of being able to have more crypto.
right.
If you can go in here and trade and make $500, $600 a day, that gives you $500 to $600 a day you didn't have before because you've already got your jobs, your businesses, everything over here. Imagine if you could invest in crypto $500 a day.
Yeah, that'd be massive.
It changed, and that's why I told you trading to me is so important because I've seen what it's done for me. Back in 2019, I actually just made a note of it right here in 2019 when I was trading. Every time that I took a withdrawal out of crypto, sorry, out of my trading account. Let's see, where's my notes at on here? I had this down. Yeah. So every time I would trade, so let's say I had a week and I made 6 grand that week. When I pulled that out in Bitcoin, it was like, you know what? Bitcoin's kind of the hitter right now. I'm going to leave that in Bitcoin. That week got me 1 Bitcoin. So every week I traded in 2019, where I had at least $3,000 to $4,000 worth of profit, I was making 1 Bitcoin,
Wow.
which today is 84 grand.
Yep.
So
Yep.
being able to keep your money in that ecosystem is so huge, So
Massive.
that's what I try to tell you. If you can get into trading and understand it, it can be a game changer because granted, you're not buying Bitcoin for that price, but imagine $500, $300, $500 today, and you throw that in Suku. $500, $300 tomorrow, you throw that in H bar. $500, $300, the next day, AIs. And you're just doing that. I mean, you're not having to pull your 9 to 5. You're not having to pull your business money, nothing. It's all trading money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
quick, what
I'm
what's
learning it
this?
for to try.
What's the starting amount you like someone to put in to begin their trading with? A grand, 10 grand, 20
Yeah, I mean,
grand?
you
Like,
can,
because
I
people are going to
mean,
be like, oh, well, where do I start? You know what I mean?
$1,500 is solid, but with a $1,500 account, expect to make 10 to 15 bucks a day.
Mm.
If
Okay,
you're
so then
trading,
how are you making $100 a day? So that's probably 10,000.
yeah, if you got a $10,000 account, that's technically you're risking 1% a day, which is safe. So $100 risk to make 100 bucks.
That's fair. That makes sense how
Yes.
you're doing it.
And you're going to get lucky in some of these trades where, like, for example, it's quite funny. 100 when we took that big sell on US 30 back a few weeks ago, that was only a 65, it was a $650 risk. So a $650 risk ended up making you almost 38 grand.
Damn.
So there's trades where you're able to get in with that low risk because your stop losses are so low that you can just pound it out. So a $65 risk would have made you over 3 grand.
Yep.
So you do have those types of trades where it doesn't require such a large amount of money and you just get lucky because the market, hits how you want it to hit. Um, but yeah, basically 10,000, you're making 100, every single day. You get into the $100,000 accounts, you can make $1,000 to $2,000 a day. So it's all in your risk.
Jason's over there, like if I'm Jason, I'm opening up $100,000 account tomorrow.
No.
I'm like getting in the demo version of Carbon Capital. Shameless plug for it. Which I'll be honest with you, as a new person, like you guys got to understand, I don't have a financial background like Jay and Andy. I legitimately don't understand money. I didn't get a 401k until I was 37. I did 401 me. I had jobs that were like 40, $50,000 a year. I built my training up. So like I relate to a lot of people I chatted with at the crypto seminar. And I can tell you when I got into carbon, it made a little sense to me right out of the gate. Like it wasn't overwhelming for me to like actually look at and go, oh, okay, all right, I see. Trading view, same thing. Like once I kind of like I've got it open right now, and I saw it go down. And I said I think it's going to go up, and it went up. And I said I bet here it rejects, and then I'm watching it go live. But you sit around, you watch this stuff. I could say to my eye as a beginner, it's
Yeah.
not as intimidating. I think where I liked it, Andy, was you were talking to me and Jay about it last night about the demo version,
Yeah.
getting in there, making a lot of mistakes, just kind of understanding how it works. Click this, click that, break it, because you do that in business. And I don't think people understand in finances. I've learned a lot. You have to be willing to lose a little money
Mhm.
in order to figure out how to make some money. And investing is no different. Like when people talk to me about like what's a safe crypto, and I'm like, well, I'm not investing on that. I'm investing that in 5 years I want to be in Key West hanging out. So I'm looking more in that model of things. But you know, I I just want to say like compared to all the stuff I've seen out there on the market, it was pretty easy for me to consume. What about you, Jay? You have a middle background, I guess.
Yeah, no, the overall arching uh usability and everything's really, really good. I just, there's certain things that I was dicking with it today and I couldn't remember certain things. So I'll have to ask Andy, how certain things with stop losses and different things. So it's like anything, you're gonna have to do it, you're gonna have to play with it. But the demo's great. I mean, that's what you do. You get in the demo and mess with it. So
And it's like that with anything. I mean, if you take someone that's never touched a weight in their life, you're
yep.
not going to expect them to go into the gym and have proper
Nope.
form. And I
Nope.
tell everyone, don't go, just go in there and move around. Go
Yep.
in there and move around, grab some weights, have some fun. Once you get acclimated with the machines and what you like, then go find the trainer, go
Yep.
find Jeff or Jason and say, hey, how's my form? And before you know it, you've critiqued the whole thing. So you have people that try to get into trading without ever even walking into the gym. And they're
Yep.
just intimidated because there's so many machines, there's so many things. But once you get there moving around, you're like, oh, this is simple.
Yep.
It's no different.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna be demoing for a while, buddy. No 100Ks for me.
Hey, you know what? Oh, it's fine, but just let me help you invest in your crypto because I think my aggressive strategy I'd put forth for you will make you really rich. Listen, I just want you to buy me some shrooms one day and I'll send you this gift. As I sit here and watch it, it's pretty interesting with the market's up 1% today, a little over. But Andy, when it comes to
Wait a minute, is
looking,
the market up? I haven't looked.
yeah,
The
it's showing up right now.
US 30 went down fast and then it went back up.
Yep.
Why is that? The sentiment came back bad. I didn't understand why it was going up.
So go look at the Dixie, the dollar.
Mm.
So when the sentiment's bad, that's going to affect the dollar bill itself. So if you go look at the Dixie just took a dump.
So when that's down, the US 30 usually is up.
Yep.
Got it. How do you find the Dixie? What channel?
So it'll be on TradingView.
Oh,
Yep, and it'll be under just DXY.
DXY. Got
Yep.
it.
And
US
that's the
dollar
US,
currency.
yep, US dollar currency index.
Got it.
Yep, you can add it and then you just look at it over here.
Mhm.
It's down. Yeah, it's plummeting. It looks like it kind of just went horizontal. So more likely to reject and go back down is what it looks like.
Got
So
it.
yeah, I mean that's kind of what I gauge off of if I mean obviously it doesn't always there's manipulation that can happen, but if you look at the dollar and the news affects the dollar and the dollar's just tanking, then most of the time your stocks are going to rise.
Got
And
it.
if if it's rising, then most of your stocks are going to go down in value.
Man,
Just a good identifier. I tell people don't rely on it to trade on constantly because it can get you in a bad situation.
Yep.
But it's just another thing that you can add to your arsenal that says, okay, this
Yep.
works.
I
Got
dig
it.
that. Andy, what would you like to chat about next? Since I know, what do you get asked a lot lately in the Discord that maybe you feel like our audience would like to know about to maybe
Man,
make them feel a little bit better, a little bit
we
easier
might we
while
might
we're
want
going
to
through
take a
this?
lunch break and come back. This is going to be a few hours. No, um, I think controlling emotions is huge. There's a lot of people that are dealing with just emotional distress, not understand how to control their own emotions because they've emotionally tied themselves to the money they're investing. And that shows me that when they're tying themselves to the money they're investing, it's money that they need.
Mhm.
If you're in a position where you can invest and you're like, oh, this money's not even going to hurt me, I'm not going to see it out of my bank account. Cool. You can let go of that money and it's not going to affect you.
Yep. Yep.
But the moment that you invest into something and you start feeling the pains of what your investment's doing, it means you were emotionally tied to that dollar somehow. And 90% of the time, it's because you were hoping with expectations it was going to give you more money immediately, instant gratification, or you needed that money next month and you're like, crap, why did I put that in there? You know?
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. I was more emotionally tied to it in 2018. I don't know if I really needed it, but it just really was rough to see it tank 75% and I got out of the market. Like I said, this time I'm staying put. So my 5K goes in no matter what. I don't really look at it. I get on and I Google BTC and I can see where it's at. I Google H bar, but I don't really open my Coinbase much because my buys are already set. I'm not really aping into anything. Um, so I just leave it on autopilot and know that the crypto market always goes back up. I don't
Yeah.
know when, but it always goes back up, and I'll be ready to take some profits then.
I'll be here for it.
Yeah, I looked at it like that. Like I'm almost 50 in the market right now, and I'm just kind of like, well, the worse this goes for me, the better off those DCAs get, and the better off I have a chance of making that 10, 20x, who knows, over time between the way the coins are. I think most people look at times of uncertainty as opportunities not to be risky to get ahead. Like everybody plays it safe. Like we all know that as business owners. I mean, like how many of our friends all like, well, I do business if this, or I would do a business if that. And it's like, you're never ever going to be able to call it perfect. Like you just got to jump sometimes
Yeah.
and just hope, and that's something I could say. I've watched Jay because I was in crypto a little bit and I'd cash out and then Jay kind of stayed in longer than me. And I'm kind of like him and I've chatted. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay in. Just kind of like we're both like to see where it goes because I think I could say from listening to someone smarter than me, like I listened to Jay. He goes, I wish I stayed in. I wouldn't be talking to anybody right now. I'd be living on a beach. And I was like, fair. So, you want to get into coin review?
It's brutal, but yeah, we might as
Yeah,
well finish it out.
well, in all honesty, like, we have Suku to kick it off. This one is one that I got in. I'll be honest, in the audience, if y'all got in when you heard the podcast we first did with Andy and I, you probably got in the 6 cents range, maybe in the fives, and you've seen it tank down into the threes. But like Andy said before, he's used Suku many a times. If you look at it every year, there's a pop. So at the very least, depending upon the strategy you have, it's a good one. But what are we at right now, Andy? And what does the
So yeah, so
black little 8 ball say for you?
man, so right now Suku is setting at 0.037 cents, which is, I mean, that's its bottom line that we saw back in 23, when we saw at the beginning of 24 before it popped off. We got Skell. So I mean, Suku is basically its bottom line is the high 2 cents, low 3 cents. So it's right there at it. And we're going to see the same with Skell. Skell's charts and Suku's charts almost look identical in terms of where they at, the pumps, everything they've had.
Why do you think that is? Because that's interesting. Like, you'll watch Suku out of nowhere
Yeah.
fly up for like 4 hours, and then it completely falls apart. And it's
Yeah.
wild to see.
Because there's such a small group of people that are in Suku
Okay.
with large amounts of money. Same goes with Skell. That when they've got a $250,000 to $500,000 wallet and that thing jumps 2x, they take their profit. And since the market's so slow with traders, it dumps so hard.
Okay. Okay. So that makes perfect sense for you all who are listening, who see like coins like XYO. I know is one that does it. I think Onyx coin does it too, from what I've
Yeah.
witnessed.
And and Dent's the same way. Literally, if you
It's
look
the
at
same way. You're
Suku,
right.
yeah, if you look at Suku, Skell, and Dent's charts, they're almost all identical, sitting in the same spots from 2023 to 2024. So to me, those top three there have a massive run they could ultimately
So
have
Jason should take 50,000 and put it into scale, and
all day,
50,000 put it into Sucre
all
right
day,
now
all day.
of his 100 grand, and he will look at us all and buy a steak dinner with lobster somewhere. Fantastic.
And then next up, we got Render. Render sitting at $3.17,
That's juicy.
which I mean, its high
Yeah.
was $13. It's set now in lows of November 23 before the big hit. So if it can hold this area and we get that run, I mean, that's got a solid 3 to 4x in the tank for Render. So feel good about it. XRP, the people's coin. I mean, it's broke back above the 225 mark. So if it can hold above $2.25, then a nice push to $3 is not out of the question at all. But it's got to hold that level. And then XLM for me is always a solid coin. We're at a retracement of almost 23% on the gain from the November push. So at 27 cents with 65 cents right there, it's high when we had the massive push in December. That's another 1x. So no one's complaining about that. And then you got H bar. And I mean, again, H bar is in a great area at 19 cents. We basically said, 22 to 23 cents is the perfect buy opportunity. So being 19 cents, this thing's essentially on a massive sell. So that's the coin updates.
We got B3 base. Remember, we added that one because we started tracking it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot we put B3 on here. So B3
I got
is
over 500,000 of these babies, juicy, sitting on it.
yeah, I mean B3 setting back. I mean B3 is a hard one to do a chart on because it was so new.
So new.
It come out of the gate swinging and shot up. So we haven't got good metrics on it to know where it's going to go. But I mean, the fact that we know that a push from where it's at right now to where it was is a 2x on something that's fresh, that's something I'm willing to go in and risk on for sure.
Why give your veteran assessment on why this one is the one what you just said. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Man, yeah, the team is staying active. They're doing a lot in the gaming industry. They want to actually be a way that gamers can get paid, open up different ways of people being able to play, get paid in crypto, which is huge. There's been a few companies that have tried to do it that have failed miserably. So, anytime a company comes out and says, hey, we're in the gaming world, we want to find a way to monetize people's gaming and reward them, I'm on board, especially with something so cheap. Because if they ever hit that niche and it works, imagine all the gamers saying, I'm going to make money for playing a game and this is how I'm going to get paid. I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this will end up
One
outperforming,
second.
Sam?
Okay, sorry.
No, you're cool. Do you think it's going to outperform sand? Because I know sand's the top performing one on all the lists I always see. So B3's clicking up there. It's getting in the third and fourth slot, depending upon the ones you see, because they're really hyped on this dev team, like
Wasn't
you just said.
sand at $6 one time though?
Sand
Yeah,
was at
Sand
seven.
got to $8.50.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's
don't
doing
think
some.
B3 is going to do that, or you're going to be
Yeah, no, I mean, because
retarded rich, Jeff.
I
Oh, I
mean,
know.
Sand started out essentially at 0.0079. B3 right now, is 0.006. So, I mean, if it clocked off and did what Sand had did, I mean, but I also got to look at the market cap, how many coins are in,
Yep.
and all that mess. I mean, mm, I don't know, Jeff. Let me go look real quick. I've never even looked at that.
I say we do it. This is a moment, audience, where we're ad-libbing on the show, and you guys get to hear Andy break down a coin live, so you can understand like what kind of his thinking is, so that you, as you look and you study, you can get better too.
So right now, the total supply of sand is 3 billion sand.
Okay.
That's the total supply. And B3 has a supply of 100 billion.
There you go.
So 100 billion versus 3 billion. So if it did reach the same numbers, what we would do is we'd basically say 30, we'd have to cut that number down by essentially 30. So if we took $8.50 divided by 30, if they hit the same hype that sand hit, there's a possibility it could get to 25 cents.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
So
I
I mean,
mean,
there's a possibility of 25 cents if they had the same hype that the sandbox did. So I mean, 25 cents isn't, I mean, you got to think if you put in a grand at 0.006, which is current price, and it hit 25 cents, your grand would be worth $41,000.
Man, that 500,000 plus I got of those just sounds sweeter, Jay.
Now, again, keep in mind, this is when you look at a coin compared to another coin that's done
Yeah.
something amazing that has a huge following. I mean, currently, right now, Sandbox has, a 24-hour volume of what's our 24-hour volume over here? Roughly $10 million is what Sandbox is hitting in volume right now. At their all-time high, the volume was going, let's see, at their all-time high, they hit a 24-hour volume of $4.5 billion
oh shit.
in a 24-hour time period. So, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. So then
Wow.
if we look at B3, B3's 24-hour volume right now is 4 billion,
Oh,
which isn't bad. And at the peak of its run, it had a 24-hour volume of 294 million.
wait. In that
So,
last 4 billion?
yeah, another one had 4 billion. So, I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But I would say when you look at, stuff like that, it's a it's a roll of the dice. So hear
Yeah.
me
Right.
out.
It's
You've got
speculative.
if someone has $1,000 that says Andy, am I putting my $1,000 in XRP or I'm putting my $1,000 in B3? And I say, what is your expectations? I want my $1,000 to turn me 15K. That's not going to happen with XRP.
Mm-mm.
Sorry, it's not going to happen. So I'm going with B3. Is that $1,000 you're willing to lose? No. Put it in XRP, but you're not getting your 10 grand. Is it 10,000? I mean, is it $1,000 you're willing to lose and don't care about? Oh, all day. Throw it in B3. That's how I look at it.
Fair.
Because you got to think, even 5 grand in B3 right now, if it did what Sand did, has you setting over $250,000.
That's wild.
Well, the only reason I'm kind of getting more sold on base, and I'll give you my thoughts, and I know we gotta wrap it. Same with Arrow because they're all tagging back to Coinbase, and the fact that Coinbase's stock got kind of cleaned up a little bit the other day isn't a bad thing. And there's one thing that I've noticed that the people who are getting into it prefer the Coinbase app over crypto.com. There's an ease of use, and if they can keep getting better at that ease of use, I think for sure Coinbase will have it'll be like the top crypto app in America. And I think it will be what people, it'll be synonymous with Bitcoin purchasing. It'll be like you just go to Coinbase. It'll be like, oh, my Bitcoin, and they will magically just pull up the Coinbase app just to get the Bitcoin. I
I
think
bet
it'll
it's
become
already
that
the number one
synonymous.
in America.
No, it is, but I'm saying I think that they keep outpacing it. Like the visionary in me sees what they're doing with making that app so easy and
Yep.
bloody easy to understand, Jay.
And they're going to make it even
Yeah,
easier.
even easier. And that's what it's got to be. It's got to be button, button, go, button, button,
Yep.
go. Binance is in so much shit that they're never going to be able to recover. And the fact that Coinbase's CEO and all this stuff's American, I think goes to their favor, especially with a pro-American. Like you said, you cannot get lost on the fact that Trump is for the first ever crypto president, crypto czar. They're not going to let a crypto based number one based firm in the US fall apart. It's only going to get better. I think they're going to weed it out to where it's just
That I
them
believe.
and someone else.
We're going to see trading platforms slowly even get to a point with crypto, even the stock market, where you don't even have charts on it. It won't be any, there won't be any candles, there won't be anything.
Well,
It'll just be a price. You'll see a price that goes up and a price that goes down, and you'll go in and say, I'm going to buy the market, and it's just either going to go up or down. They're going to
Yep.
make it so simple that people don't even have to look at a chart anymore. You're just looking at a number, and people are going to gamble it away, and it'll turn into the next sports gambling app on a phone.
hmm.
Oh, don't even get me started about that. The fact that you can bet on wrestling still blows my mind.
Is Coinbase just supporting B3 because it's on base, or do they have ownership in it? Do we know?
I
No,
don't. I've not read an article about ownership tied to it.
Okay.
I've read article is about as far as investment money into it, meaning like they're propping
yeah,
it up.
that's all they're doing because it's on base. That's all it is. And I mean, their website is super clean. I mean, when I went to their website, I'm a big like color guy, and the blues and the grays and the big letters, I was sold. The moment I saw that, I went, okay, I'm here for this. They do have a staking platform as well. I've not looked at it, but I do know they have a staking.
Hmm.
I don't know what it pays though.
That's
Yeah.
what Arrow's big on, which Coinbase is gobbled up in their space too. Arrow's big into the staking for the DeFi side of the platform.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's a.
Arrow's at a juicy spot, it looks like too.
Hmm. Let's see. Yeah, I
Look
don't
at all
see.
this extra stuff you audience is getting today.
Do what?
I said, look at all this
53 cents.
extra stuff the audience is
I know,
getting today.
right? Yeah, I'm gonna have to research.
Yep. You're about
The,
54 right now on the Arrow. So, Jay, I mean, I'm in an average price on that at like 74 cents because I just kind of flipped in high, But if you really look into it, that's Arrow looks like it's definitely not a bad choice to get 3 and 4x back, what it generally does from what I've seen paying attention to it. And I don't pretend to know, but this is so I picked one coin to really study and I'm looking at base and I'm looking at arrow to start getting my mind wrapped around like what things do so that way I can start paying attention to patterns, trends, and things like that.
That's a good smart way to do it. Just pick one or two and get used to it.
Yeah, that way I can kind of learn to call it. But Arrow's got a bunch of news about it. Like when you read
yeah,
about it, they cover and smother really well. And they are very good at tagging other things they're a part of, like Sui and all this other stuff. Like, oh yeah, we did this over here. Like they seem like they're really collaborating, and I think that that's how they're going to bring that DeFi pretty hard to the center for them.
Yeah.
So, dude, if you're watching US 30, it went up, got rejected. Now it's trying to go back up again. Looks kind of cool.
yeah, it is.
I can see where you can get hooked on watching this shit all day, like
We have to
smoking a
get. You
bong
have to
and
get.
just sitting here.
We gotta get US 30 above 41,798.
And then it breaks out.
Yep, and then we'll break back out because right now the way US 30 is trading is we're in a what I call the danger zone, which is before we broke out back in August of 24, and that's basically anything in the zone of 41,578 and 41,298, and the price is setting dead center. So if we closed a daily candle below that zone, the Dow Jones is going to continue to fall. But if we can get on top of that zone and then break 41,798, we're kind of in the clear for a nice little retracement up to the top, which would be super nice for the traders that are out there.
So I can't wait to tune into live to start learning how to do this like Jay and I talk and demo and figure this out on the back.
Oh man, y'all are gonna have a blast.
Absolutely. Well, guys, you got anything else you want to say before we wrap this baby up?
Man, enjoy the weekend. If you're gonna be in these storms, be safe, and that's it.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, audience, we love it when you share us, tag us. We got our socials in the YouTube channel, so be sure to give us a follow. But most importantly, comment, reach out to us on social. Let us know what you want to hear from us. You know, it's kind of like that time in crypto where it could be an easy time, like in your health and fitness, to lose interest in it because it's boring. But this is when you make the real results. So lean in with us, and we'll see you again in a few weeks. Ciao.